this online open house for the Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. I want to inform you all that we will be recording this session, but we cannot see your faces. If you have any questions that you want to ask during the presentation, then please write them in the question and answer section. But before we really start, it would be really nice if in the chat you could write where you're from, so that we have a little bit of an idea of where the various participants are from. So with me tonight, I have Catherine, who's the head of studies of the biotechnology program. Yeah. And we have Maria from admissions. And we have Guillermo, who is a student currently studying on the program. And then I'm also with my colleague Anna-Mette, who's from the international office, and I myself am from the international office. Yeah, oh, very good. We have someone from Lithuania, I can see. Yeah. And Romania, that sounds really good. If some of you others can write where you're from, it's always very interesting for us to see. Yeah. So the program this evening is a general introduction to the Bachelor of Engineering, and we want to touch upon not only the professional aspects, what you will be learning, but also what life as a student is like if you're joining us in Kalundborg, what your career opportunities will be when you're finished with the program. And we're very proud also to give you a little glimpse of our new campus in Kalundborg, the so-called Biotech city in Denmark, and where there are various companies on and around the campus area. Maria will inform you a little bit more about admissions, and you'll also hear something about the various support options that we have. And throughout, please write, as I said before, your questions in the question and answer section, and we will answer some of them during the course of the presentation. But if there is something general that we think everyone would benefit from hearing the answer to, then we will say it verbally so that you can hear the answer. Yeah. A little bit about Absalon. Absalon is a university college. It covers the area of Zealand, and we have 13 educations located in 7 different cities. And if you join the program in Kalundborg, then you will be in a setting where there not only is the Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology, but there is also a Bachelor of Engineering in Machine Technology and a medical laboratory technologist education. The only education, though, at this campus that is in English is the biotechnology, but you will not have a problem making friends with students from some of the other studies. The other campuses that we have are in Holbæk, Slagelse, and Næstved, Roskilde, Vordingborg, and Nykøbing. And we have a broad number of educations. Yeah. So I guess, Catherine, if you could present.
I will.
Great.
I think we just need to get the screen sharing to work, but we'll see how it goes. There. So let me know if it's not changing slides. We had a bit of an issue with that before, but let's see. Well, as Helene said, my name is Catherine, and I'm head of studies at the Biotech program. And I'll present some of the contents of the program and a little bit about the perspectives of it as well. So you already mentioned, Helene, that Kalundborg is placed on Zealand and is one of 8 campuses in Absalon, or 7. We're located around 1.5 hours from Copenhagen, so directly west by the train is Kalundborg. And you might wonder, I guess, a little bit why we're situated in Kalundborg. Well, it so happens to be that Kalundborg is the biotech city of Denmark. We have a large concentration of international big biotech companies in Kalundborg. So we have, for instance, Novo Nordisk that produces, among other products, they produce insulin for diabetes. It's actually so that half of the insulin used all over the world is produced in Kalundborg. That's quite an amazing fact to think about, I think, when Kalundborg is not that big. We also have one of the world's biggest enzyme producers, so that is Novozymes lying there. And we have utilities companies. We have the largest oil refinery in Denmark, Equinor, lying there. We have also Christian Hansen is a new company in Kalundborg. They produce a lot of microorganisms and cultures for different food products, and it's very much into food technology as well. And all of these companies, well, they need employees, and therefore they would like us to have an engineering program in Kalundborg, and that is why our program is situated there. Another very cool thing about Kalundborg is that it's actually hosting the world's first industrial symbiosis, also one of the largest symbioses in the world. And an industrial symbiosis is where companies, they exchange different materials. Here they exchange some, deliver their waste products to other companies, and they use those as raw materials. So a lot of these companies in Kalundborg are connected with, well, it's usually green tubing lying around, where they exchange water. It could be wastewater, it could be steam, it could be heat in any way. So all of these things. And the fact that these companies are already collaborating in the symbiosis makes it extremely interesting for us as an education to be part of this as well, because then we really get the benefit of all this very nice collaboration. But about the program, it's a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. So you might ask, to begin with, what is an engineer? Well, this is one way of defining an engineer, that you have to be good with math. I think one of my definitions of an engineer would be that you would very much like to be a technical problem solver, that you'd like to use your skills within math and chemistry and biology to solve real world problems. And biotechnology, well, biotechnology is everywhere. That's usually what we say. It's in your food, it's in, if you take any sort of medication, it's in the households that you have. Biotechnology is in the wastewater treatment, it's in the heating you have in your house. So everywhere around you, there's biotechnology. So treating, cleaning up wastewater is a biotech process. Producing beer or cheese or any kind of pharmaceuticals is biotechnology. And all of these processes you will learn about at the program. So about the program, there's a study start once a year, so that is on September 1st. The program lasts 3.5 years. What is characteristic of this Bachelor of Engineering is that it has half a year of internship on your 6th semester, where you will be joining an engineering company. You will sometimes get paid for the internship, but it's not guaranteed for this one. A little bit about the campus, we'll go into details afterwards, but we have more than 20 nationalities on campus, and that includes both lecturers and students for this one. Our teaching is very much focused on smaller classes, so you won't be 1 in 500 students in an auditorium. You will be in a class of maybe maximum 40 students. You will have a lot of project-based and dialogue-based teaching, which can be quite different, especially for the international students that we have, than what you're used to from before. You will have a great deal of lab work and project work in it, and you'll learn how to work in smaller groups and teams to solve problems. And all of this, because I've told you before that we were located in Kalundborg due to the local biotech industry. Well, of course, they help with the program. So they deliver teaching, they deliver company visits, they deliver internship places, bachelor projects, etc., etc. So that is sort of the key feature with this program. If we look more closely at the structure of the program, it is constituted of 7 semesters. So you'll have semester 1 in the bottom of the figure here. On semester 1, you will have 3 courses. You will have a project-based course, project 1. You will have chemistry and mathematics. And then as you go up in the semesters, you will on most semesters have a project-based course, and you will have these what we could call basic courses. So chemistry, math, enzyme technology, chemical unit operations, all of these courses that you need to understand your projects and to solve the cases that you're given in your projects. Many of the projects that you will get are coupled to a company case. For instance, in project 1, you will work with the production of insulin at Novo Nordisk. You will get an overview of the production from start till end, and you will also get the opportunity to sort of specialize a little bit in one specific unit of this production process. And this project work is done in groups, and you'll have to deliver a report and have an oral exam afterwards. And that happens again in project 2, project 3, and project 4 as you go along the program. So you get a lot of experience in this project work and how to collaborate, how to communicate, and so forth. And that should make you ready for your engineering internship. That is on semester 6, where you will most likely end up in part of an engineering project and be able to sort of play your role in this one. Then you finish off the program with a bachelor project that could either be at campus in one of our research or development projects, or you can do your project in a company. Just a little bit, I know some of these logos might not be familiar to all of you, but this is just to give you an overview of the large variety of business partners we have during our program. So again, these companies deliver teaching, they deliver supervision, they deliver internships, project cases, even equipment for some of our labs. So really, you get to see everything that biotech engineering is, and a lot of different career opportunities as well. So every time you meet the companies, you get a chance to network with them and to get to know what they would like to see in engineers. And if that is not enough, we also have a mentor program for our students. We offer 2 different mentor programs where you get a mentor from a company, that can help you with your student life, with your career opportunities and everything else. So that is a great way of starting to create a network, trying to figure out what you want to do with your studies, how your career should be in this way. And just to give a summary, at least, of some of the career opportunities, you can go out and find a job when you're finished as a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. There are companies waiting to hire you afterwards. No guarantees, but still. You can work within quality, you can work within production, you can be a project manager, or maybe work more in research and development. And if you're not sort of ready for a job when you're finished, if you don't feel like that is the thing you want, you can also study further and take a master's degree at another university if you want to. So you're able to do that with this bachelor. So if with all of this talking and presentation, you think maybe an engineering degree could be something for me, then I would say you would have to think that math is interesting. I might say that you should also like chemistry and biology, but math seem to be the key thing still. You should be ready to learn how to program. You should like to use a computer and use different softwares and get to know them. You have to be prepared that English is part of your everyday life. I mean, textbooks and the entire program and teaching is in English. That you value a high professionalism and practical problem solving, that you want to solve problems of the future, and that you want to invest many hours and efforts in your studies. And I think in a little while I'll ask Guillermo how many hours he spends on it. So this is a picture of our new campus. We actually moved into our campus just 3 months ago. So it's very, very new. And you'll have different programs here. You will have 2 different engineering programs, as Aline said. And you'll also have a station very close by and a very nice new campus environment with new laboratory facilities. So in a new campus, you'll also have a chance to help build the study environment. We care a lot about that students are feeling welcome and comfortable at our campus. So we have, for instance, introduction days at the study start. We have board games and Friday bar. There are parties at campus. I know it's been a little bit difficult during the last couple of years due to COVID-19, but we are trying to re-establish these things. And in a lot of these activities, you can be involved in various ways. You can, for instance, be a tutor, be part of a biotech student forum, our educational committee, student council, everything. So that's really many opportunities to be part of student life and have an impact on student life as well. So this is a map of Kalundborg. So I hope you can see there is a green dot that says a new campus. And that is right next to a train station in Kalundborg. So there's a good transportation opportunities. It's also very close to the new dormitory that we have that I'll tell about later. And you'll see the harbor and the central city around the harbor in Kalundborg for this one. And south of the new campus, it's a little bit difficult to see because I put a big green square on top of it, but that's actually where most of the companies are located. So that's an entire biotech city production site that is located there. So if you're going to study in Kalundborg, you might want to live somewhere. And we have a very nice new student facility that's called the Kalundborg Kollegiet. You can see the web page link for it. There are both rooms and smaller flats that you can share, 2 or 3 students. So you are welcome to visit their homepage. They have available rooms, so it shouldn't be a problem to find a place to live. And for Danish standards, they are okay in price. They are cheaper than in Copenhagen, at least. So life as a student, I'm not sure I'm able to answer all of these questions, but luckily I should still have a biotech student with me. Guillermo, are you there?
Yes. I'm still here.
Good, excellent. Could you maybe tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a student in Kalundborg and why you chose to study in Kalundborg?
Yes, of course. So I think the key feature, as you said, about this bachelor program is the balance that there is between practice and theoretical studies. So there is a lot of theory and there is a lot of study required from your part, but it also gives you a really nice overview of what the biotech industry is and what you're gonna find in the future, the careers perspectives. There is also a nice study environment because it's such a nice, such a small and small university. The environment is really cozy and really nice. We know all of us between, and we throw parties. We have the Friday bar, so there is a lot of going on in the new campus.
I think you were also a tutor at the study start, right?
Yeah. Every year, the older students, we organize. In this case, this year was my year. So we organized the kind of like 3 days study start for new students to introduce them to the new campus, the new program, all the facilities we have, all the systems, the digital systems we work with, to make it easier for the new students to start with the program.
And as far as I remember, you also made a lot of games for them and some parties and this way. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it has to be it has to be fun all the time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and besides that, we also have the Friday bar. For example, the Friday bar organizes seasonal parties. So we had the Halloween party 1 month, 1 month and a half ago. Now we are just about to have the Christmas dinner, also in campus. I think we are going to have an Easter dinner also, and seasonal social events, which makes study life way easier.
Yeah, that's good. We like happy students. But this one, Guillermo, do you know anything about what would you say was maybe the hardest part of the program, or maybe the hardest part of when you started as a student in Denmark?
So as an international student, I wasn't used to project work. In Spain, in my case, because I come from Spain, the education was based on theory and individual work. And here in Denmark, and mostly Absalon, as far as I know, they focus a lot in project work and group-based. They really put focus on working in groups, on creating that synergy between you and me. If I don't know something, maybe you do, and we can contribute to each other to study better and to get better results.
Yeah, and I know that's a challenge for most of you.
Yes, it is, but you get used to it, and it's actually quite nice.
Yeah. Well, you have to get used to it. It's your future career, I would say, yes, for this one. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Lama, for helping me out with these questions. And now it froze. Excellent.
I can just say that I can see that there are some new participants, so please remember that you can ask questions in the Q&A section, and we will answer them. as we go.
Yeah. Oh, I think it woke up again. That's good. I guess you're not allowed to talk too much for the slides then. So just to say, I mean, if it's not international enough for you to go and study in Denmark, you're actually able to make your education even more international. So you can take a semester abroad if you want to study somewhere else than in Absalon, and you can also do your internship abroad if you want to. Only thing we have about this, and this is maybe Helene and Mette, you should talk about that when you enter the program. You should plan in good time. Isn't that right, Helene? Yes, we'll see. And just as a bonus information, I might say that a new feature besides our new campus in Kalundborg is that our new neighbor is called Helix Lab. That's also part of Absalon. And this Helix Lab is a very special institution. They offer master projects for students at Danish universities. These master projects are collaborations between the universities and the companies, and we actually to share facilities with Helix Lab. They have both workshops and robotics labs and a lot of biotech labs as well. So even though we don't offer master programs at Absalon, we get the opportunity to collaborate with the universities and with master students in the Helix Lab facilities, and we get even more labs. So that's really, really great. And they're going to start with their master projects in well, next year, 2022. So that's really a great new neighbor that we got. And I think it's Maria's turn now.
Yes, I'll talk a little bit about admission requirements. Now you've heard a little bit about the program. So now you want to know, can I apply and how to apply? You need a what is equivalent to a Danish upper secondary school certificate or a high school, depending on where you come from. And you need some different subject levels. You need mathematics in A levels, Danish A levels, and physics, chemistry, and English. You need that in a Danish B level. I would always advise that you send with your application, send a verification form with your with how many hours you've had. Have your school fill them out. You can find a link to that on our website, where you can get your school to fill in how many hours you've had on the different subjects, so we can evaluate the levels from your degrees. Yes. To apply, you need to send us an application. Where you do that is optagelse.dk. It opens February 1st, and you need, if you're a foreign student, you need to have your application in by the 15th of March, because you're a quota 2 applicant. So you need to have your application in before the 15th of March at noon. If there is any Danish applicants out there, you can also apply with a quota 1, which means you can wait with your application until the 5th of July if you only want to get your application assessed on your grades. We would advise that you send all your documentation, everything you have on your degrees, your levels, and we need all your documentation in by the 5th of July. So you can send your application before the 15th of March, but we need to have all your documentation before the 5th of July. I will say that if we need anything from you, we will contact you. So you don't have to worry that if you send the wrong thing or you don't send enough, we will contact you if we need any more information. So don't worry if you're not sending the right things. Just make sure the documentation that you have from your education, you just send everything that you have. Also, if you have any work experience that's relevant, that can be assessed as well. So anything you have, you can send it. And if we have anything that we need from you, we will contact you during the application process. If there is any eligible credit, that we also need to assess that. So if there's anything that you might get credit for, previous education or work experience, then you have to send that documentation in as well. Conditional admissions, if there's anybody out there that hasn't finished their degree yet, that doesn't mean that you can't apply. You can still apply, and you just have to have your documentation in that you finished your education before study start or 2 weeks after at the latest. We just need to see documentation that you're in the process of finishing your education, but maybe you have an exam that doesn't finish until after the deadline. That doesn't mean that you can't get into the program with the study start 1st of September. You can still get in. You just need to send in your application, and if we can assess that you are that you will have your admission requirements met, then we can give you a conditional admission on the condition that you send in the last documentation before study start. And if this doesn't make any sense, you can always contact us. You're welcome to contact us by phone. We have some opening hours, you can see here. Also, always our email, we try to answer back the same day or the next day at the latest, depending on the amount of emails we get. But we're always here to answer any questions. If there's anything you need to know about admissions, if this didn't make any sense to you, then and I would always advise you to have a look at our website. It's pretty detailed in the admission requirements and links to different information, and also the verification form that we would advise you to send with your application.
Thank you, Maria. So I think it's my turn again a little bit. Basically, just to inform you that if you are able to obtain a Danish educational grant, that's called the SU, then it would be possible for you to apply for special support. That is, for instance, if you have some sort of impairment, if you are dyslexic or anything else, we can help you, or our study counselor can help you in getting the right tools or the right help to make your studies easier for you, and that you can finish in the same time as your fellow students. So, but this is very, very important that you notify us when you begin your studies that you would need these kind of help in it.
Catherine, we
Yes.
have a question concerning the cost of studying with us. Can you say a little bit about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your.
There's a question about how much does it cost to study at Absalon?
Well, that depends on where you are from. But if you are EU residents, and correct me if I'm wrong, Helene, there's no tuition fee for you in this way. But if you are non-EU residents, then there is a tuition fee. And I think it's around, can you remember, Helene?
It varies from semester to semester.
50,000 Danish. I think it's around 7,000 euros per semester.
Yeah.
Or was it too much? It's on our homepage.
It's on our
I
homepage.
cannot access it right now because I'm sharing my screen. But I can find it when I stop presenting for this one.
I have it here. Semester 1 to 5 is approximately 6,500, or is that? Yeah, 6,580 euros. And the sixth semester is 870. euros. And the 7th semester is also 6,580.
Good. So 7,000 wasn't that bad, I guess.
Nope.
For this one. Okay, good. Yeah. And again, maybe also before you apply or when you have applied, if you have any questions that related to study counseling, you can always contact our study counselor on either email or by phone. And maybe the most important thing is that you can contact our student ambassadors, and you can see we have 4 of them that are international, and they are widespread in the world, I would say. So if you have any questions relating to student life or how it is to move to Denmark or anything related to that, if you want to come and visit and maybe follow us a day or something, then please write to these students and have a talk with them. Yes, and I think I will stop sharing now. This one, that was the end of the presentation. So I don't know whether you have any more questions from the Q&A, Helene.
Yeah, they just popped one up. Let's see what that is. There was a question that I did answer before with respect to scholarships, but I don't know, perhaps Catherine, you know some more about scholarships than I do.
No, for the moment there are no scholarships that I know of that we are in charge of. I mean, there would be possibly private ones and maybe some belonging to your home country in some ways, but no, other than that, there are not any scholarships.
Unfortunately, yes,
Yeah.
that was also what I answered. There are some countries that do offer scholarships to their students that want to come and study with us, but you have to look into it. Yeah. Are there any more questions?
There is one about accommodation and what is the approximate cost in the new dormitory. Do you remember that, Catherine?
Maybe I can answer that. I live in the student residence, and the prices depend on the type of room that you get. There are different rooms, and they are building a new building that's gonna start being available for 2022, so next year. But the price is the lowest, I think, is 3,300 with heating and everything included, and it goes up to, I think the biggest one is 5,000. So it depends on your needs, your space, and different variables.
And maybe we should add that was hopefully in Danish kroner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Danish krona. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I did the conversion a long time ago, but I think it's somewhere around 500 euros, 400 going to 500.
Yeah. Then we might also say, I think for some that would be quite expensive, but Denmark is a bit expensive compared to other places, I would say. But it's also, I mean, it's a nice student accommodation. I mean, there's a heating and it's new and everything.
Yeah, the good
At
thing
least
about
compared to
this,
where I've stayed before when I was abroad. I think
the good thing is that it's really comfortable to be living here as a student. You don't have to think about Wi-Fi. You don't have to think about paying extra for heating, for electricity. It gives you everything. It gives you a social room. It gives you a social kitchen also to hang out with friends here. So there is a lot of facilities for students.
And there's a couple more questions. The one is concerning whether or not you need to know Danish in order to study at our university. And of course, you don't need to know Danish to study at the biotechnology program that's offered in English. But Guillermo, how is it functioning, not speaking so much Danish, perhaps, as a student? Yeah.
So far, it's going good. I mean, your everyday life is going to be in English. All your friends are going to be international, of course, Danish, but your main environment is going to be international, and you can get around with English. But for your day-to-day life, you might be interested on learning Danish. But Denmark also gives you a lot of facilities to start learning in Danish. Danish education is free for internationals. You just have to pay a deposit that you can get back once you decide not to keep the Danish education, and it gives you all the resources you need to start learning Danish. It's a hard language, but you just need to put effort and time.
I think I might supplement on that we try to offer Danish courses for all our new students, so they can go at least once a week at campus and learn Danish. I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays this year maybe that you can go.
Yeah, I was actually one of those doing it last year, and it really helped not to be able to speak fluently in Danish because it takes time, but at least to go groceries and know the basic Danish words, and that really helped to get involved into this new life.
Then there's another question that wants to know a little bit more about the Helix lab and whether or not they offer a master's degree diploma. How does that work, Catherine?
Well, if you want to be at Helix Lab, you have to be enrolled in a Danish university. So you would have to be in a Master of Science or Master of Engineering program at a Danish university. And we don't offer master's programs at Absalon at the moment. So that would be, for instance, the Technical University of Denmark, Copenhagen University, University of Southern Denmark, these places where you study your master's. And then by the end of your master's, you would have the opportunity to apply for a scholarship for Helix Lab, and then you could do your master thesis there for this one. So, I mean, that is what you say, a little bit far away from the Bachelor of Engineering, but I think it's a really nice perspective that when you finish your Bachelor, if you want to go study further, you can go to a university in Denmark, and then you can come back to Kalundborg and do your master thesis.
And somebody else wants to know about whether or not you provide help when students are searching for a job or work experience.
I would say for study jobs, we have once in a while, or we post a lot of different study jobs for students, and some of the companies in Kalundborg try to provide student jobs. I would say if you're going here, and I can understand everyone would like to have a job, but there's no guarantee that you will get a study job. I know a lot of different, institutions and companies in Kalundborg would like to help you, but don't sort of bet on that you get a job within the first 3 or 4 months. I think that's realistic, at least, but otherwise we help. We also help if you want to get a job afterwards when you graduate. We help you in the mentor program. We help you when you have to apply for the internship. It's actually like applying for a job. So we do workshops where you are getting prepared to apply for the internship positions, to go to the interview, to be professional around having a job and being in the internship. And that would also help you when you have to apply for a job afterwards. I hope that gives some of the answers at least.
And then there's some questions about the admission requirements, about the minimum levels of math and English and the other subjects, and also regarding whether or not there are admission exams. So I don't know who would like to answer that. Maria, maybe?
Well, I can take the admission subjects. It's math A levels in Danish A levels. So we need the hours that you've had in your secondary school degree, from your secondary school degree, to kind of have a feeling of where your levels are. So that's why we would like your like a verification form from your school. It's A levels in math and chemistry and physics and English is a B level. And the same with that, we can't say, because it depends on what country you're from. To assess that level is a little bit difficult. So that's why we need the hours that you've had from your school degree. Some countries we can assess directly, but a lot of countries we can't. So we need the hours from your school. That is how we assess it. But you have to have chemistry and physics and math and English on your degree. Yeah.
And so maybe I can take the exam question. There is no sort of admissions exam at our university college. We have a study start test, but this test is in the first 1 or 2 weeks of your studies. But that is mainly to check that you are active as a student and that you have arrived at campus and that you can figure out our exam system. All exams at Absalon are digital in a way that they go through a digital platform. So we need to make sure that you know how to use this one. And that is part of the study start test at our campus. But it's not something about, well, it is about math and chemistry as well. But you cannot really fail it.
And then there's a question regarding how does one apply, and when will one know whether or not they've been accepted to the program?
Well, you send in your application on optagelse.dk. You can find the link on our website. You will get a reply with everyone else in Denmark that applies for education on the 28th of July. Everybody gets their answers at midnight. So log on to NemStudio and see your answers. Yeah, so everybody gets their answers on the 28th of July, including the international students.
So then there is a question, and probably one for you, Guillermo, around how much does it cost to live and study in Denmark?
Okay, so I mean, one should be aware that Denmark is an expensive country compared with the rest of the standards of the rest of countries, but it depends on your expenses and how well you manage your money. I can say that food is going to be your main expense during the first months, and you can get around with food for 100, 200 euros per month. But it highly depends on the lifestyle that you follow.
Thank you. And then there's one student that wants to know how many exams do you have each month? So I don't know who would like to explain.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can give the official answer, then Guillermo can tell how it feels as a student, maybe afterwards. Well, you finish every semester or every course with an exam or 2 or 3, maybe, depending on which course you have. So for instance, on semester 1, just to take an example, you have classes and lectures from September until early December. And then you would actually have 3 courses on semester 1. So you would have, in math, you would have both an oral and a written exam. In chemistry, you would also have an oral and a written exam. And in project, that is the 3rd course, you would have a project report that you would have to hand in with your group. and then you would have an oral exam with that as well. So that's actually 6 exams. Yeah. So if you don't like exams, you're going to have a hard time here, I think. So every May, June, every December, January is going to be exams. And for most semesters, I think you will have around 5 or 6 exams. Yeah.
To supplement to that answer is that the good side about this is that you don't have any exams until the end of the semester. So you have 3 months to focus on studies, there are mandatory assignments, but they don't contribute to your final grade. So the only thing that contributes to your final grade is going to be the final exam that you do at the end of the semester. There are several assignments that you need to do, kind of to like follow up during the semester and make sure that you are like up to date with everything. But it's pretty nice to have 3 months just to focus on studies, kind of like have a bit of social life, enjoying the semester, and then this 2-week period between the classes and the exams, just focus fully on studying and get the exams done.
Maybe we could also say a little bit about, depending on where you're from, of course, when you have written exams in Denmark, at least, you're usually allowed to bring your textbook and all of your different assignments or calculations that you have. The exams that we do, both the written ones and the oral ones, they're not as much that you're going to sort of memorize all the theory and everything. It's where you apply your knowledge. So you solve problems and you apply all the theoretical knowledge that you have in this way. So I think that's maybe a little bit different than what it is in other places. And then we also have these oral exams that are, of course, going to test you in your theoretical knowledge, but furthermore, I mean, to have a dialogue about it, and we would ask you, why did you do this? And you have to reason for that one as well. So it's much more discussion based, and we'd like to hear your point of view as well on it. I don't know if you can supplement, Guillermo, whether it was a cultural shock to go to exams.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about exams because they are quite different from what I was used to from Spain. Yeah, they give, like, you can bring to the written exam everything but internet, and the exams is not going to be memorized and give me the definition of this or give me the definition of that. The exams requires of real knowledge, like even though you have the theory on hand, you really need to know how to apply that theory into the problem solving that the exam requires. And regarding the oral exam, it's kind of intimidating at first. And the first oral exam, you don't really know what to do. But if you think about it, it's just a discussion based between you and the teacher, and you put all the theory that you put it into the problem solving that they give you. So that gives you a really good perspective of what you're gonna find in the future out in the industrial world or your career's perspectives.
And Guillermo, one of the student or potential students is asking, like, how long do you study each day in order to meet the requirements?
That's a good question. This study does require a lot of time from your side. There is a lot of project group, and project group always requires more time from your side than any individual work, I would say, but it does require time. I don't know how much time exactly per hour, but I can say it's a full-time study, and I don't have time to lay on bed all day.
Maybe I can give the official version of the study load. So I mean, as a student at our campus, you should expect to be on campus every day. You might have half a day off, or if you're lucky, one semester to have a whole day where you don't have any lectures. You would have around 24 lectures each week. Each lecture is 45 minutes. You would have some late days with lab work, for instance, until 5 or 6 in the evening. And overall, you would have to, in the total of 20 weeks that your semester lasts, you are expected to use at least 41 hours a week on your studies. That is including lectures, of course. So it is a full-time occupation to be a student. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have one last question where the person is asking whether or not we have genetics and hereditary or biochemistry and molecular biology at Absalon.
We don't have that much into genetics and these things. We do have courses in biochemistry and a little more in molecular biology, but we do not specialize, for instance, in molecular biology in this program. So you will get a large variety of disciplines that you can combine. So you should expect to have chemistry, biology, that's microbiology, molecular biology. You will have a lot of math. You will have a lot of chemical engineering. Chemical engineering, for some, they would say that's real engineering. For this one, so this is about pumps and centrifuges, filtration, how to dimension pipes, calculate a lot about flow, learn about mechanics in this way. And then you would also have, all the biology part, molecular biology and lab work in that, and chemistry. So it's multidisciplinary, so you won't specialize in one field here.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any last questions that participants have that we can answer? We have a couple of minutes left. No, it doesn't seem that way. So I would like to thank all of you that have logged on. Oops, wait a second. There is one more. It's a thank you. Yeah. To thank everyone that's logged on and participated, and yeah, and to the panelists that have been able to answer your questions. So yeah, keep us in mind. I hope that we have inspired you to look some more on our webpage and learn some more about the education and perhaps to apply. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Yeah. Bye.